Venator, the deadliest pistol in Arc Raiders. If you have ever felt that fighting against this weapon was so unfair and want to balance the scales, then this video is for you. It's a top tier weapon in close to medium range fights, and the fast fire rate and 2 projectiles per shot lets you apply insane amount of damage in a very short amount of time. Since each shot only consumes 1 unit of ammo, you can comfortably take longer fights or even multiple enemies at once without having to worry about reloading. With this video, I want to answer 2 important questions: how to win games with Venator and which attachments actually matter. Stick around because this video will explain everything you need to know. You can get yourself this amazing Venator from a raid or craft it yourself in a Gunsmith Bench Tier 2 if you have the blueprint. Upgrading the Venator costs you advanced mechanical components and medium gun parts, and as a result, it increases the fire rate and reduces the reload time significantly. This semi-automatic twin-shot pistol does 9 damage per shot, but since it splits into 2 projectiles, then it's 18 damage total if both projectiles hit. Venator has a headshot multiplier of 2.5, meaning your headshots would do 45 damage. It has a moderate arc armor penetration, so it can handle most of them fine, but there are better weapons for that particular purpose. So how does it do against different players with different shields? If you aim at the body or the head, then at most you would need 4 to 8 shots depending on the shield of the enemy raider. It may look like a lot of shots, but with Venator 4 you can shoot 5 shots within a second, so it's incredibly fast. You can find a great STK calculator in the video description if you want to check out different Venator shot combinations against players with different shields. As I've mentioned before, upgrading the Venator increases your fire rate significantly. To have a good overview of how significant it is, I'm going to show you the difference from Venator 1 to Venator 4 side by side in slow motion. Reload time is also something that improves with each tier. With Venator 4 it takes 1.75 seconds, whereas with Venator 1 it takes 3.5 seconds. Increased fire rate and reduced reload time are S tier improvements, as Venator is at its best in fast-paced, close-range fights. That means upgrading it to tier 4 or as high as you can should absolutely take priority over any attachments. If your Venator is upgraded but you are unsure what to use, then stick around, as the next part is for you. Before moving on to the underbarrel testing, let's talk about magazines. The extended Mag 3 is often presented as the must-have for Venator from many of the videos. It does provide the highest total firepower, but in practice the value for cost isn't really there if you're running Venator regularly. You need the blueprint, and for just 4 extra shots you're spending 6 springs and 2 mechanical components. If you play high tier PvP often, then you know very well that this cost just isn't sustainable. The green extended Mag 2 is much more practical option, and you can buy 2 of these per day from the security trader for just 100 credits each, or craft them yourself at a significantly lower resource cost. But here as well, you are going to need the blueprint. In any case, extended Mag 2 makes far more sense unless you have excess Mag 3s lying around. If you do, you can of course use it, but it's not going to make your Venator overpowered. At the end of the day, it's a luxury comfort item from economic standpoint. And now let's talk about the grips, the only attachment slot affecting the way Venator behaves. I'm firing 3 times 22 rounds without any manual recoil correction with the maximum fire rate to see the full spray pattern. Without recoil correction, Vertical Grip 2 clearly has the best results when compared to no attachments or the Angle Grip 2. Important to note here that the horizontal recoil really kicks in at the 9th shot and towards the end of your spray. Similar but more evident results when comparing the tier 3s and the horizontal grip. It's pretty clear that the horizontal grip is the best in this particular wall test, with vertical grip as the next best substitute. And this is all to understand the recoil pattern. Let's compare all of the results side by side, and the horizontal grip seems like the best option, but it comes at a cost that will later surprise you. Now, of course, in reality, the static wall test will not give us the full picture. I don't think I've ever been in a fight with Venator while standing still. This is why I will be moving around at 20 meters while ADSing and trying my best to control the recoil to hit the target area in this test. I ran these tests 10 times to increase the sample size, and the results you see are subjective, of course, due to the manual recoil control, but the results of my other tests were almost identical. We can see that the angled grip 3 is performing far better this time around, as the vertical recoil is relatively easy to control with Venator's low kickback. The results that surprised me were the blue attachments compared to the horizontal grip. And the horizontal grip might be detrimental, as you might pull it down too much, causing the pattern to spread more than with the angled grip. Is the additional 10% recoil reduction worth the cost and minus 30% ADS speed? Well, let's compare and see. Although tier 3 grips reduce your ADS speed by 30%, it's still very fast because Venator has a very low ADS time by default. But across all of my tests, the angled grip 3 was the clear winner. Now let's move on to the topics on how to play Venator better, and the first one is going to be about distance. Although it should be primarily played in the close range, it can be still relatively effective at distances of approximately 50 to 70 meters as seen in the clips. All you need to really do is to stay calm and take a little bit more time between the shots to reduce the dispersion recovery time and let the crosshair recover back to the original position. The next thing is going to be movements. I think it's the most important thing with Venator. Since you are mostly going to be in close range, you will be an easy target for your opponents if you keep static. Incorporate dodge rolls and slides into your gameplay to keep your opponents guessing and missing their shots. This is something I struggle with and I still need to improve on myself. You can see me tanking a lot of damage in the clips as well. Although I have a significant advantage and connect my first shot, I stay static, thus giving him the opportunity to easily down me. And now, to illustrate the point further, here are some clips where the opponents should have moved, but they didn't, and that made killing them too easy. Getting owned by poor movement can always be a two-way street, of course, but with good stamina management and a little bit more awareness of the surroundings, you are much less likely to end up in bad situations like these. Open areas without cover and tight corridors are places where you can punish people who are overextending very easily. Next topic we're going to be talking about is the usage of utility items. Most raiders I've encountered don't really use utility items at all during fights, and it's a huge loss. Smokes and tagging grenades are excellent utility items to use with all weapons, but especially valuable with close range weapons such as the Venator. You can use smokes to hide, to be aggressive, or just to disorient your opponents. If you throw a tagging grenade into the smoke, then you have essentially created a wall that you can see through but the enemies can't. In this example, the utility usage allowed us to make a push to the enemy position and take it over. Without the smokes and the tagging nades, it would have been much more complicated. There are many other great utility options like mines and ziplines, but I would like to give a special mention to barricade kits. Those provide you excellent cover in an area that is otherwise open, but be mindful that they are not indestructible and they can be even dismantled from a short distance. Next thing about the Venator playstyle is going to be staying aggressive. Contrary to some other weapons such as the anvil, where you might want to keep your distance because you don't have a lot of bullets and you can't afford to miss, well, with Venator it's the opposite. You have a very high fire rate, you have plenty of ammo to take on even multiple enemies at the same time, so it's the perfect storm. You don't want distance with Venator. So always try your best to maintain pressure on the opponents, and sometimes that means that you have to do it even if you're on low health. Remember that the fortune favors the bold, so push when you see an opening and create that panic. One more thing I would like to mention is that there is an augment that synergizes really well with Venator, and that is the flanking augment. You can main Osprey, where Venator could be your secondary, or use another pistol such as a Burletta for double trouble in close range, just to name a few examples. This augment allows you to equip Venator and other pistols 33% faster, and you have a bunch of utility slots. Only drawback is that you have to use a light shield. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.